Another big story we are tracking: the United States has sent out a clear warning to Pakistan. U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis has said that his country will try one more time to work with Pakistan. But if Pakistan failed to destroy terror safe havens in its territory, President Trump will not hesitate to take tough action against Islamabad. During the House Armed Services Committee hearing, Mattis said clearly that the President is prepared to take whatever steps are necessary. He said that terrorists had been allowed safe havens in Pakistan and there is no need to change that.
We have an enormously powerful number of options there. Right now, I would like to think we will be successful, but you ask a very good question, because we don't want a transient or temporary change, and then things go back the bad way. But I think that right now, with the growing consensus against terrorism, they'll find themselves diplomatically isolated. They'll find themselves economically in increasing trouble as countries that are damaged by this terrorism coming out of there say enough is enough and take steps. There's an awful lot of advantage to Pakistan of coming online with the international community. And I think that we have to stay focused there, but the penalties are just as significant as the advantages if they choose to go a different direction. But for right now, we need to try one more time to make this strategy work with them, by, with, and through the Pakistanis. And if our best efforts fail, President Trump is prepared to take whatever steps are necessary.
Mattis will be traveling to Islamabad soon, even as he says that the U.S. is having second thoughts about Pakistan's involvement with the NATO. Mattis, in fact, said that the U.S. will consider revoking Pakistan's status as a major non-NATO ally due to its support for the Taliban.
We are aligning what Department of Treasury, Department of Defense, the intelligence community, Department of State say. This is what we must ask Pakistan to do to change its behavior. At the same time, we are aligning that with NATO, so we have 39 other nations that will also be reinforcing us. As you know, I just visited New Delhi about the situation they face on their border. There are a number of ways, based on a very recent visit by the Pakistan Chief of Army Staff to Kabul about 3 days ago, that we can help Pakistan to see its way forward to do what is in its own best interest. We will do this in a holistic, integrated way. Holistic means whole of government and integrated with our allies, and that's across South Asia. This strategy is not exclusive. In other words, any nation that wants to fight back against terrorism and reduce this threat to all nations is more than welcome. It is not exclusive of Pakistan, it's inclusive, and that's why we started with a regionalized strategy. As we move this forward, we are going to have to find common ground with Pakistan. And as you know, the international community does not stand for terrorism. So there are decisions Pakistan must make. They have lost more troops than probably any other fighting terrorists.
Earlier during the Senate hearing, top U.S. military officials clearly said that Pakistan's main spy agency, the ISI, has extensive ties with terror groups in Pakistan and Afghanistan.
The Taliban will just against U.S. and coalition will. It's the Taliban will against the Afghans and the Afghan forces in particular. You know, last year the Afghan forces had 16,000 soldiers killed, and they stayed in the fight. They've proved incredibly resilient. Sure, they've had battlefield shortfalls, and we know what they are, and our failure analysis identified those, and the plan that we have proposed is designed specifically to address where there are tactical gaps in their capability.
The United States in 2012 designated the Pakistan-based Haqqani network as a terrorist organization. Pakistan argues that it has done a great deal to help the United States in tracking down terrorists, and also pointed out that it has suffered hundreds of deaths in terrorist attacks in response to this crackdown. The comments come even as Pakistan Foreign Minister Khwaja Asif arrived in the country on a 3-day visit. Mr. Asif will hold talks with the U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and other top officials of the Trump administration. He is also scheduled to meet the U.S. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster tomorrow.